I'm gonna stop Moses and stop that hype, and then fight Dubois for world title, kill him, and become a world champion.
Daniel Dubois has already been through the Filip Hrgovic experience, and that makes his warning about Moses Itauma worth paying attention to. The young heavyweight may be favorite, but Dubois knows how awkward the Croatian can be.
The ring with Hrgovic, a great fighter, tough animal type guy, experience. It's going to be a fight I'm going to be definitely watching, and I think the whole division, the whole world's going to be watching. It's a great dust up. Let's see what Moses can do.
Itauma and Hrgovic meet next Saturday at the O2 Arena with the vacant IBF heavyweight title on the line. The belt became available after Oleksandr Usyk gave up 3 world titles in June, giving 2 very different heavyweights a chance to grab one. For Itauma, the stakes are huge. At 21, a victory would make him the youngest heavyweight world champion since Mike Tyson stopped Trevor Berbick in 1986.
IBF belt is on the line now. Has that changed the perspective going into it then?
Not really. The belts just come with the performance. With boxing Hrgovic, I was taking him serious. And now that the belt's on the line, I still take him serious. Nothing's changed. I still want to beat him as much as I did before the belts were on the line. So of course, it'll be an honour. I'd love to be a world champion, but it's about Filip Hrgovic himself,
On paper, Itauma has every reason to be confident. He is young, explosive, and has been tearing through opponents. His latest victim, Jermaine Franklin, lasted only 5 rounds in March. But Hrgovic is a completely different test. He is bigger, older, experienced, and has shared long fights with top heavyweights.
But you remember what Rocky said, it's not how much you can punch, but how much you receive and keep moving forward, right?
Nonsense. I'll tell you one thing in boxing. I don't know why you've been praised to have a good chin. That's not something you should be praised for. I get so much hate because people saying I ain't been hit on the chin. Ain't that a good thing?
Chin is the most important thing in boxing, man. Without good chin, you can't be great.
If you don't get hit.
Oh, you get hit at some point. You get hit. You can't box for 20 years to don't get hit.
Not under the bright lights.
You must get hit sometimes, and if you don't have chin, you can't be a great fighter.
I'll hit you before you hit me. We'll see.
So what if I don't react?
Then we'll switch forward. That's fine, we'll see.
David Price offered another reason to take Hrgovic seriously. After watching the Croatian completely overwhelm Dave Allen, Price was surprised by how hard Hrgovic maintained his pace. That pressure matters because a young fighter can look spectacular when he controls the rhythm. But things change when someone keeps coming forward.
The thing is with the Itauma, as good as he is and as he looks, because I remember seeing him on social media, then he'd won the European juniors, and we all know how hard that is, and I was like, oh now this kid must be good, and he stopped all his opponents and all that. So I followed him from early on, and he hasn't showed any weaknesses, but he hasn't been hit yet properly. That's the reality of it. He hasn't had a crisis in a fight, and until that happens, there will be question marks. In this fight, I think he will take his licks a little bit, and he'll answer a lot of the questions that remain.
Dillian White, meanwhile, knows exactly what Itauma can do. He was flattened by the youngster inside 1 round, so his opinion naturally carries some weight. Yet White still sees danger in this matchup. His argument is that Hrgovic does not possess frightening one-punch power, but he is difficult to discourage, while his tendency to cut can become a problem.
Good fight, dangerous fight for Moses, but good fight for Moses. I think the fight's more beneficial for Moses than it is on Hrgovic, Hrgovic is a good fighter, he's tough. Not the most powerful guy, but he gets cut a lot. And if you're mobile, he seems to struggle. Moses is quite mobile. But I think it's a good fight, perfect fight for Moses in this year of his career. And I think it's a winnable fight for Hrgovic. I think Hrgovic stands a very good chance of winning that fight.
Chris Algieri focused on the other side of Hrgovic's resume. The Croatian has shared a ring with dangerous heavyweights such as Zhilei Zhang and managed to survive those encounters. That experience tells Algieri that Hrgovic brings more than size.
Hrgovic being 33 years old versus Itauma, who's 21, by the time they fight, maybe 22. There's a big difference. And I think the biggest difference is Hrgovic has been asked the questions. And he's given the answers. Not always the right answer, like when he fought Daniel Dubois. But he's been in tough fights. Zhilei Zhang. That was a brutal heavyweight fight, back and forth, stayed tough throughout, showed that his chin could hold up, showed that he had the power, showed that he had the conditioning. He's been there. With Itauma, we don't know any of those answers yet. He hasn't been pushed yet as a pro. He has a very low number of fights as an amateur, very low number of fights in general, amateur and pro. So the question marks are glaring when it comes to Moses Itauma. Yes, the talent is there. Yes, the power is there. The finishing ability is all there. He has all the makeup to be a heavyweight champion and a star at that. But what happens when he gets pushed? What happens when there is pushback, when there is resistance? And I think Hrgovic is the kind of guy that can answer those questions. He's going to put up resistance. He has power. He's big. He's been there. I don't see him as a guy who's just going to get blown out by Itauma. So there are going to be some questions asked of Itauma in this fight.
Don Charles took a longer-term view. He sees Itauma as a future star and a legitimate threat to Dubois, but he believes the two should stay separated for now. His preferred route would be for Itauma to win a world title independently, build his name, and then meet Dubois in roughly 18 months in a major unification fight.
So, if you put him in against Daniel Dubois?
Good question and hard question. Who brings and implements their game plan on the night? It would be a very tight fight. All the current live heavy who are coming through, Daniel still walks through all of them.
You think he beats Fabio?
Most definitely. Easy work.
Eddie Hearn was arguably the most interesting voice because he refused to join the Itauma hype train. Instead, he made the case for Hrgovic. Hearn highlighted the Croatian's size, experience, and raw clinch-heavy approach.
He's a good fighter. You know, I think Hrgovic is a world-class heavyweight. Is he elite? I think he's close to it. And there was one stage I think he was really close to it, but you know, he's going to fight Itauma now. I think it's a good fight. You know, I think Moses will be much too sharp for him, but I think it's a proper challenge. I think it's Moses' first real test.
Dave Allen also leaned toward Itauma, but he expects Hrgovic's familiar cutting problems to play a role again. He still described this as comfortably the hardest fight of Itauma's career.
I think it's a great fight for Itauma. You know, it'll really give us an idea how good he really is, I guess. I think it's by far the hardest fight of his career. I think Itauma wins. I think he's too fast, too sharp for Hrgovic, a bit too fresh. So yeah, I think Itauma will win. I think he'll stop Hrgovic. I think he'll cut him early. I don't think it'll last that long, actually. In terms of the title, Hrgovic been high in the rankings for a long time. Itauma's beat Franklin and Dillian White. Does that deserve a world title fight? Maybe not, but he could be the next big thing. Hopefully he is. Hopefully he wins this and goes on and unifies, and then the next crop can come through and challenge him.
Johnny Nelson picked Itauma too, pointing toward his athleticism, technique, youth, and ring intelligence. His prediction differs from Allen's because he sees either a decision or a late stoppage rather than an early finish.
I think Moses Itauma, too sharp, too smart, too technically astute for him, and too young. I think Hrgovic will give him a few things to think about to improve him as a fighter if he's going to be the heir apparent. So it'll be a learning lessons for him, but I think Moses Itauma beats Hrgovic. If he doesn't go to pit distance, stops him very late.
Do you see Moses getting hurt in the fight at all?
I see questions being answered, which he needs to. And every fight he has from this point onwards needs to be that case. If he wants to be a champion and stay a champion. It can't be an easy ride all the way going through, because eventually you're going to come up against somebody that gives you something different and makes you think about what kind of fighter you are. If you get hit, you get hurt, you get wobbled, you get put down. You want this to happen now before you become a champion, because at that time there's too much at stake, and then you're thinking, oh my goodness, this is it, it's over, this should happen to me. So I think this is a good learning fight for Moses that he can win.
Tony Bellew is even more aggressive with his prediction, expecting the fight to end inside 6 rounds. That fits Itauma's career because he has never boxed beyond the 6th round across 14 professional fights. But Bellew's biggest concern is not Hrgovic. It is what comes next. If Itauma destroys another opponent at 21, there is a danger that promoters rush him straight toward the heavyweight wolves before he has accumulated enough rounds and experience.
So out of his fights that he has now, the heavyweights, who would you say his golden goose was? Moses? Daniel?
Well, it's Moses all day.
Okay, so do you think Moses gets through the Hrgovic fights?
Yep.
Do you think
I think he gets rid of him inside 6 rounds.
Do you think he puts him in with Daniel?
And then that's what worries me is he gets through the Hrgovic fight and he blows me away in 6 rounds, and then they throw him to the wolves.
Joseph Parker also praised Itauma's technical development, but his warning was simple. Hrgovic is capable of walking forward for 12 rounds while throwing heavy punches without fading.
Listen, Itauma is very talented, very sharp, only getting better and better with each fight. And this will be a good test for him, because Hrgovic is no slouch, and no one is just going to come easy and try and give it to him, you know? Hrgovic will be throwing punches, chasing him down, and if Moses can deal with that and look impressive, then you know he's ready for the big stage.
The predictions favor Itauma, but the matchup is closer than the hype suggests. Hrgovic has already shown he can make elite heavyweights work, and Dubois' experience should stop anyone from treating him like another routine opponent. Personally, that is what makes this fight so interesting. Itauma looks like the future, but Hrgovic could be the awkward gatekeeper standing between the prospect and the world title. If Itauma handles him comfortably, the hype becomes harder to question. If Hrgovic makes him struggle, the youngster may learn more in 12 rounds than in his career.